served in the Navy, got out, did sales, worked in human resources and recruiting for 12 years, got laid off when the economy downturned in 9, was unemployed in 2010, but I founded a job seekers group, which kept me busy and active. And during that time in 2010, I started doing LinkedIn workshops at my dining room table for job seekers, which then evolved into me starting my own business, teaching others how to do LinkedIn and also speaking from the stage on how to create your LinkedIn profile, utilize LinkedIn not for just job seeking, but also for sales because the economy started to pick back up. And then I got hired at LinkedIn from posting on LinkedIn about my job, my LinkedIn classes.
Welcome to A Founder's Life. I'm your host, Leo Gestetner. On this show, we dive into the real stories behind the highs and lows of entrepreneurship and how we pursue a more balanced and meaningful life along the way. This podcast is sponsored by Thankz, helping founders like us scale with reliable remote talent. Email founders@thankz.com. That's THANKZ.com with the subject line of Founder's Life, and you'll get $1,000 off your first month. Well, today I'm excited to be joined by Melissa Washington. Melissa, thank you for joining us today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much, Leo, for inviting me to be on here today. So I'm Melissa Washington. I live near Sacramento, California. I'm a Navy veteran, and I am the founder and CEO of Women Veterans Alliance. And I also wear other hats, as I'm sure many other founders do. You do multiple things, and I look forward to sharing that here on your podcast.
Well, thank you. So if we talk through your journey a little, so starting sort of how did you get to where you are today? And then also talk a little more about what you are doing today and sort of how you're helping your clients.
Absolutely. So I'll do a very quick overview to what I'm doing today. Served in the Navy, got out, did sales, worked in human resources and recruiting for 12 years, got laid off when the economy downturned in 9, was unemployed in 2010, but I founded a job seekers group, which kept me busy and active. And during that time in 2010, I started doing LinkedIn workshops at my dining room table for job seekers, which then evolved into me starting my own business, teaching others how to do LinkedIn and also speaking from the stage on how to create your LinkedIn profile, utilize LinkedIn not for just job seeking, but also for sales because the economy started to pick back up. And then I got hired at LinkedIn from posting on LinkedIn about my job, my LinkedIn classes, and got offered a temporary opportunity at LinkedIn for 3 months, helping them out with some events. And 3 months turned into 4 years at LinkedIn. Enjoyed it, traveled the world with LinkedIn. And one of the things I always like to share about that story is it was only supposed to be 3 months. It was a contract position. A lot of people turn like, I don't want to do something temp or contract, it's nothing. So they never asked me for my resume. As we all know, LinkedIn is in Silicon Valley, get paid a lot higher hourly rate than do where I am. I was paid that same rate, even though I did not live there. So it was a fantastic opportunity there. From there, during that time, I launched a book called Get Back to Work. And then one of the things that I was looking to do was start a networking group for women veterans. As I wasn't interested in the traditional legacy veteran groups, I wanted an opportunity to network with women more in a professional setting. So in January 2015, I got about 20 women together at a local restaurant in Sacramento. And what started as a third Thursday meetup is now a global organization. So that's real quick to where I am today.
Wow, that sounds like you built a couple of great ventures.
Yes. And looking forward to more.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, at some point it becomes hard when you're doing all of them at once, but yeah.
Yes.
I say that as someone who has a whole bunch of different things I'm doing at once. You need a good team. That's the trick.
Yes, definitely.
And talk to us a little bit about what family means to you.
Family is everything. I mean, that's my my support system, and making sure that we put family first. Of course, being a woman, you have a different role in the family. So making sure that you're managing the family. I've been married for 31 years, so that's a whole other podcast on how 31 years last. My husband's a retired Marine, and then also have my daughter just turned 20. They're there. I mean, they've been there when I got laid off from my job. I mean, they're there. They're most important thing in my life. And, it's, and as my daughter was growing up too, it's like, granted, mom and dad, we have to work, but we also work because we love what we do, but we also want to be able to have the things that, to be able to go on vacation, we have to do these things. So giving her an understanding of these are things that we do so we can do these things.
Excellent. And how does health look for you?
Health look. That depends upon who you ask. Myself, my doctor. Yes. So health is very important. And if we look at health, weather, and what's interesting is because this is what I've been talking about, started talking about this year, even more so is taking health not just from the medical perspective, but financial health, business health, right? So if we look at all these things and try to help ourselves in all these categories, I mean, yeah, you can just focus on one when it comes to health, but how can we be whole in all those different areas of health?
And for you, if we look at those different of mental health, physical health, nutrition, do you have sort of specific focuses for you?
For me, I try to make sure I'm focused on all of those, but sometimes those don't do as well in each time. But mental health, yes. I am a person of faith, so that also helps with my mental health and other areas as well. Nutrition, of course, I can always use sometimes a little bit better on the nutrition. I do travel a lot, so making sure I try to have healthy eating habits, but sometimes that does not go the best with that. So if you ask me for areas of improvement, of nutrition would be one, but I do eat my daily vegetables and fruits as well. So and my water intake, physical. I do so like I said, I do travel a lot, but I do have a personal trainer that comes to my home because that's the only way I would be able to do it because I can say, oh yeah, I'm going to go to the gym at 11 and then something else happens. So at least I know I'm obligated. I'm paying her to come here. So for me, that works. It may not work for other people, but that's the best way for me to make that happen.
Yeah, I get that. It's the motivation and the commitment then. And what do you like to do for fun?
I like to do for fun. I love to well, I love to travel. So when I say travel, I do travel for business, but also for fun as well. So whether I'd rather be sitting on a beach is fun for me. My husband and I we do a lot of cruises as well. But another cool thing I do, which sometimes takes up a lot of time, is I'm our family genealogist. So I do a lot on ancestry and getting information because there's so much information now that's being scanned in to be able to have access to. So a lot of times Ancestry will tell me something's been added and then I go on and then 5 minutes turns into 2 hours because I'm looking at all this other information, just to be able to be the person that, other relatives can come to when it comes to that. But having done that, I'm also a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution as well.
And how does a balanced life look for you?
How does a balanced life look for me? It's
And my definition of balance is really that center line. So no one's permanently in balance, but it's overall, how does that balanced life look?
I feel balance is each day, right? I mean, I feel I have a pretty good balance as far as taking care of myself, taking care of my family and my business. And I feel it's important. I think a good example, not just for me, what actually made me force on my husband's like he works the 8 to 5, 9 to 5 type job. It's like you got to take a day off because you can start to see when it's like, okay, it's time for us to re energize ourselves. And fortunately, being an entrepreneur, I have more control over that because I'm not in an office or I don't have to report to someone. But I think too, a lot of times, founders, entrepreneurs, we get burnt out. We also have to remember a lot of times we're in control of that. One of the things that I do is I don't work on Fridays. So what I mean by that is I don't do podcasts. I don't do meetings. I might do some administrative work or have lunch with a friend. But I've been actually 99% pretty good about that on Fridays. And that took a while. That's discipline, right? But I'm in charge of my calendar. And I think that's where the balance comes in too, to say, okay, this is my calendar. I'm in charge of my calendar. Granted, we know emergencies happen or there might be a client or someone that has to talk to you on this day, but being in charge of my calendar helps me with my balance.
Makes sense. And I love the 4 days a week. And for you, what has been a pivotal moment?
Well, a pivotal moment personally is when we adopted our daughter. That was huge. We talk about personal. Again, that was 20 years ago. That's probably one of my biggest pivotal moments. I was unable to have children, and my husband and I made the decision to go through foster care. So our daughter was our foster baby. Who we adopted, and she just turned 20. So that was very much a pivotal moment, and it continues to be a pivotal moment. Raising a child and a young woman now. That would be the most out of everything just in my life, that piece.
Yeah, kids will do that for you.
Yes.
And what's one piece of advice you'd give to an aspiring entrepreneur?
My biggest thing I love to share is you miss 100% of the shots you never take, which is a Wayne Gretzky. And I do it myself too. And I think that also goes into the whole imposter syndrome or think that I can't do things, right? And that's when it's like, oh, I'm not going to call that person that he or she's the CEO, or I'm not going to apply for that, or I'm not going to do that because I'm not good enough, or they're going to say no. But if you don't ask, then you're not going to know.
I'm a big believer in that as well. I think that's a very entrepreneurial thing. You
Yes.
don't ask, you don't get.
Absolutely. And you gotta put yourself out there. I mean, that's a lot of what I do even on social media. I mean, yeah, we have to post. I mean, I post a lot of it because I need to be out there so people remember you, know who you are, so they can think of you when there's, other opportunities come, because if you don't ask, again, you're not going to get fed.
100%. I agree with you. And how can people find you?
Absolutely. So you can Google Women Veterans Alliance. You can Google Melissa Washington. I guarantee I'll pop up. I'm on all social media: LinkedIn, X, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram. Got a TikTok account. I haven't done much with it. I don't know. Maybe one day I will. If I could find someone else who would love to do TikTok to for our Women Veterans Organization, reach out. I'd love to do that, but just I'm not able to fit that in right now.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Leo.
And thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, and please leave a review.